Emily is joining us for the press view now. Starting off with the French front page. It's staying in France. Different story, though, Emily.
Yeah, different story, and a number of French papers are already covering the upcoming municipal elections that are about just 2 weeks away now. Let's start with Libération. On the left here, they start with a photo of Marine Le Pen on their front page, and the headline reads, "The National Rally is not proud of its mayors." The paper says that the far-right party is focusing on a national strategy for its campaign rather than using the local mayors' track records coming from their party, which, according to Libé, are quite embarrassing. La Croix, meanwhile, is taking a slightly different angle. They're looking at what it's like to be an opposition politician in local politics. It says that power is unfairly distributed between mayors and other elected councillors in opposition, and the only real way that they can exert any pressure is actually by standing down along with 30% of their colleagues and therefore triggering new local elections. Le Figaro looks into the demographics of all of these French mayors here in this graphic here. More than 80% of them are men. The average age is about 59 years and 9 months. 65% of those mayors lean to the right, and only 35 of the 308 municipalities are swing seats. Meanwhile, Public Sénat has their own statistics here today. They're saying that 55% of French people are hoping for a new mayor in the upcoming elections.
Now, tension, of course, we mentioned this in the news, between the US and Iran continuing to mount. What are the papers saying on this one?
Well, the prospect of a war between the US and Iran is getting quite a lot of coverage, as you can imagine. Let's start with the New York Times. They have this article here today. Iranians are bracing for war beneath a veneer of normalcy. The paper says that whilst some are packing emergency bags or moving into the country for protection, others have resigned themselves and are just waiting to see what happens. Online, though, Iranians are sharing tips on how to prepare for the worst, like stocking up on 2 weeks' supplies, but that has also angered many who are struggling to buy even a day's supplies amid Iran's economic crisis. In Spain, meanwhile, El País is reporting on a slightly different story here. It reports that Iran has finalized the purchase of supersonic missiles from China in response to US's military escalation. Now, those would enhance Iran's capabilities and potentially be a threat to American naval forces in the region. We've got this article here in the Financial Times here. They're calling it a crisis of Trump's own making. The paper argues that Trump's deployment of military force was designed to coerce Tehran into a deal, but that Iran has basically called his bluff. What started as a promise to rescue Iranian protesters from the regime's crackdown has now evolved into a failed pressure tactic that is going to, quote, drag Trump into a war he doesn't want. And finally, on this story, Politico has asked 7 of its experts what the risks of a war might be, and the general consensus is that Trump may be about to take risks that are far less predictable and even more deadly than his previous attempts to reshape global politics.
Meanwhile, a concerning blog post about the future of AI has actually spooked the markets. What's this about?
Yeah, this is quite an interesting article here in The Guardian. Let's have a look. It's about this report, a doomsday report that created quite a stir. It was published by a company called Citrini Research on Substack on Sunday, warning about the impact of AI on the global technology. And this article in The Guardian breaks down exactly why it was so scary. Now, the report's doomsday scenario starts with the mass use of AI agents, which are basically autonomous AI systems, which would be used to perform tasks that normally are done by software service companies, for instance, travel agencies or booking systems, food delivery apps, that kind of thing. And this would then lead to mass white-collar unemployment, which would then create other economic difficulties, for instance, a mortgage crisis, because all of these workers can no longer pay their loans. That would then lead to what this report calls the never-ending downward spiral, where crises force budget cuts, which encourages the use of AI agents even more, therefore reducing employment even more, etc., etc. Now, it's all pretty scary, but hope is not lost, because The Atlantic is covering this, a new book by Michael Pollan here, which punctures that scary AI bubble. It goes into the mystery of consciousness and makes the case that AI will never truly be able to replace humans. It argues that technology might have come for our attention spans, but that we have to defend our emotional space and ability to connect with each other.
Phew. Thank goodness. I was getting worried after that. Finally, from Emily, the internet has found us, thank goodness, another adorable animal to gush over.
Yes, also an incredibly human thing to find an adorable animal and blow it up on internet. Well, after Punch the baby monkey, I now bring you a baby giraffe that is breaking the internet here. This is in the Good News Network. The baby giraffe was born in a zoo in Ohio on the 17th of January, and it got an unexpected amount of attention because of its haircut. I'll show you what his haircut looks like here. That might understand what the hype is all about. This is his unexpected haircut. He was then put up for public vote. What are we going to call this little strange-looking baby giraffe? And the public decided to call him Eugene because of his unusual hair. Maybe he looks quite sophisticated. We have just one more photo of Eugene here, looking quite grand. I feel like all he's missing is a little pencil moustache, and then he'll be all set to go.
Exactly. He looks very cool. He's got more hair than I have. Anyway, well done, Eugene, for managing to grow all of that. Thanks a lot, Emily. Emily with the papers on France 24. A lot more after the break. We'll continue to analyse Donald Trump's speech, of course, and we're going to talk as well about exactly what a nation is and whether a nation is at risk. That's In Perspective.